Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on which time zone you're joining us from, and a warm welcome to each one of you. Thank you so much for taking your time to join this session. All right, so our topic for today is mastering executive presence, fueling growth as a leader. So before we proceed, I would like to introduce our speaker for today, Ms. Snehal Dhanashri. She's an experienced professional with over 22 years of expertise in training, mentoring, and coaching. With a background in voice and non-voice based functions, Snehal has trained across various hierarchies in esteemed organizations like Capgemini, Accenture, and L&T Infotech, specializing in a wide range of topics, including communication, time management, and leadership. Snehal has a passion for empowering individuals and teams with proficiency in Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Power BI. Snehal creates impactful training content. Right. So, without any further ado, I would like to hand over the session to Ms. Snehal.
Thank you, Soumya. Thank you so much. Warm welcome to all of you who are present in the webinar. And I won't take much time to reintroduce myself. We will start the session which talks about executive presence. So, Soumya, am I audible? Did you say something?
Yes, Snehal, you're audible.
Great. Right. So are we good to start, guys? Can I get a quick thumbs up? Soumya, I would need your help to
Sure, I'm here.
checking the messages. Oh, great. George has raised hand and let's begin. So guys, there was this company CEO who was very strict and often disciplined his workers for their mistakes or perceived lack of progress. One day, as his employees came into work, they saw a sign on the door which said, yesterday the person who was holding you back from succeeding in this company passed away. Oops. Please gather for a funeral service in the assembly room. While the employees were saddened for the family by the CEO, they also were intrigued at the prospect of being able to move up within the company and become more successful. So upon entering the assembly room, everybody was surprised, right? The CEO was sitting there, and to their surprise, they wondered, okay, if the CEO is here, who died? They had no clue what is happening in the assembly room. So one by one, the employees approached the coffin. And upon looking inside, each was quite surprised. They didn't understand what they saw. In the coffin, there was simply a mirror kept, right? And upon looking at the mirror, they were not able to identify why that mirror was kept and what is the reason or what is the message that the CEO wants to give to the employees. And right next to the coffin, there was a small note which was written, the only person who is able to limit your growth is you. You are the only person who can influence your success. Your life changes when you break through your limiting beliefs and realize that you are in control of your life, right? Why have I started this story? Because the most influential relationship you can have is a relationship with yourself by creating a presence, right? And I'm sure now you would have understood with the moral of the story that a person who is holding you back is you from having that true potential. So are you going to keep allowing the person to hold you back, or you would be deciding to create an executive presence? Can I get a quick yes or a no? How many of us say that we need to build executive presence and not hold us back? I'm sure you might be very successful. You might be working from many years. Some of you might be, the aspiring leaders and so on. As a professional, you're always being judged, not only on your performance, guys, but also on your presence. So this executive presence, the word presence says being present, right? And people around you, whom you work, whom you associate, they form an impression within seconds of you meeting them. The real question then is not whether you will be able to create the right impression, but will you be able to create an impression that you wanted, right? Most of the times have you ever realized or have you ever experienced that you all are in a room and one person enters who might not be very handsome or who might not be good looking or who might not be a hunk, But then when he starts speaking, you are in an awe with his speech and you are like, wow, what a presence this person comes with. Some of them are able to create it with their positive attitude. Some of them are able to create it with their relationship building. Some of them are able to create their presence, their strong presence through rapport building, right? So this is most of the times when I started working, I got a feedback saying that you need to work on your presence. And at times it was very difficult for me to decode, okay, what do I need to work on my presence, right? Especially this question might arise for the people who are the first time managers, or if you are starting a career, right? So executive presence, as I mentioned, presence is the word that talks about you being in present. There are two myths, guys, about this word executive presence. When I started working on executive presence, when I wanted to develop for myself as a trainer, as a mentor, as a coach, that was very, very important for me, not only to leave a mark on my participants, but also to make my own place with them, make a place for myself in the fraternity, understanding how my presence was strong. And at times it was very difficult for me to identify how do I build it. There was someone who told me that, Snehan, why not go ahead and take a 360-degree feedback and understand what people think about you? Somebody said you sound like a lioness. Somebody said you're very soft. And that is when I started understanding, okay, fine, people come with different perceptions, right? And very, very important, we have always been learning from our childhood that the skill sets is something that matters the most. Absolutely. Your technical skill set, your job skill sets are something that matters the most. It is very, very important. Yet, it is, however, what makes more than important is your soft skills, your people skills. Nowadays, it's been time that people are focusing on soft skills because those are the skills that help you sustain what you have. Another myth that I came in the industry was, how can I talk about myself? What should I talk about myself? My work would talk about me. So how many of you believe in that? That you should not blow your own trumpet? And how many of you do that? A quick yes or a no. I'm sure you are not able to speak to me, but I'm sure you are able to type it as fast as you can and let me see how many of you have said that I'm not comfortable talking about myself or blowing my own trumpet. How many of us do that? Are we
I am
getting the
getting the answers. Yes, yes, Neeraj.
Absolutely. Most of us believe that work should talk about ourselves. I find it very, earlier I used to find it very uncomfortable talking about my work, talking about my programs, talking about my learnings. And I understood, no, I have to be in a place with the right mindset where I was losing up on a lot of opportunities. And after getting trained on this particular topic, executive presence, I understood that your presence is inextricably linked to how you communicate. Not, guys, only with the words or with the communication, but also with your non-verbal behavior. Everything you say, everything you do sends a message. So, what is executive presence? It is nothing but a combination of personality and your character traits that makes a dynamic executive. And I'm sure you all want to be in a position where you are inspiring people. But how would you inspire someone? Why would people follow you? Why would people look at you or believe you or you would be a role model for them? Only and only when you add a value, right? So it is this executive presence. If you start working on it, it will help you to inspire others in a very assertive way, right? By consistently demonstrating the confidence. And yes, if you're looking at leadership, this is the best one that you can go for, right? So executive presence is a skill. Most importantly, we need to understand it's a skill that can be developed and it's not a trade, right? I completely believe in a fact that leaders are made and not born, right? That means executive presence is something that you can cultivate and you can build. It is all about inspiring confidence in your subordinates. And I'm sure everybody wants to see a leader to follow, right? People should be able to trust you or respect you. And if you have the right executive presence, I am sure the people would see a great potential and your team would be able to achieve as what you want to. Marina, do you have a question for us?
No, no, Snehal, sorry.
Okay. So guys, what are we going to talk about today? We would be understanding executive presence, the components, how do I build confidence and self-assurance, very, very important. Mastering communication skills, I know we all are able to speak and communicate in the language. However, being effective and being assertive is something very, very important, right? Cultivating gravitas and professionalism. I can see somebody raising their hand. If you have any question, I would be happy to take it towards the end of the session. Would that be okay? Great. Thank you so much. So, guys, have you ever had these questions? I want to understand, have you ever had a me time for yourself? And have you ever thought of what are the key changes in yourself? I want you to take some time after the session, reflect on these sessions. I'm going to add the sessions in the chat box for you to go and have a reflection on it. Are you able to have a vision? And if you have a vision, are you able to articulate it to the team? Because most of the time we have leaders who are running on one track, and both of them have the same objective of achieving the company's roles or company's objectives. However, most of the team members are not even aware as to what the objectives are. So this is the time when we need to understand that we are in one situation, we are with one goal, we are with one target, and I, as a leader, should be able to explain that thing to my team members, right? I also want to i also want you to think about your self monitoring tools. That is very, very important, right? One decision of yours that have kind of get you out of a fear zone, out of your comfort zone, right? And how many times have you been in a situation where you were able to operate effectively either under pressure or under stress, whatever it is? So these are the questions I'm sure I would want you to reflect towards the end of the session. When I talk about executive presence, you can see we have aspirations, pride, history, humility, and it is a balance, right? Because it is about you. It is about your aspirations. It is about your history. It is about who you are and how authentically you show up in a room, right? I'm not asking you to change your complete wardrobe and go ahead and buy the best of the suits and best of the dresses. No, absolutely not. It does carry an impact of the way you dress, which we are going to look into the upcoming slides. But yes, there are few features that helps you to understand and all the important decisions that you make in your life, guys, right? It is very, very important that you are working in a place where you are promoting to a very critical role, or the visibility is in your room has to be very, very high. It has to be very positive, and only then you would be able to gain success for the decisions that you have taken, right? And then this executive presence becomes more important. There are three dynamic, it's a presence of three things. The communication, you can see how you speak plays 28% of the contribution plays. Your appearance, how you look, yes, it carries 5%, but the gravitas, how you act, is something that carries a 67% of contribution. So identifying someone who has executive presence is doable, right? You do not have to be going through a resumes or piles of it. With even it with effective leadership, it's not that I know when I will see it, or I know this person comes with an executive presence, right? People or leaders who have this type of presence have authority. Please listen to this. They have authority. They are not arrogant. They are confident without being brash. They are aware of others, and they aren't very soft, right? The ability that you have to have this balance happens naturally, but this is something that can be modified. It's all up to you. How do you take a decision? How do you act? Or how do you make feel others about yourself after hearing them or interacting with them? So it is very important for a professional or a leader to have his executive presence, a memorable one, right? Why it is important in the industry? It has four dimensions. It helps the business intelligence, where you know about the industry. There was a time when I joined the industry and I had this question. Every time my training manager used to ask me, Snehal, add something new, right? We are using the same techniques, probably we are using the same ways, the same methodologies of training people. So I wanted to add something new. And I was surprised, and most of the times I was confused as to what is something that I need to add new. What is something that I can think of being out of the box? And then there was a mentor who helped me understand this business intelligence. He said, Snehal, start working on the I mantra. And when I started working on the I mantra, guys, today I am in a position where I can somewhere feel very comfortable of thinking outside the box. So if you want, you can make a note of this I mantra, which talks about intelligence, integrity, industry, and innovation. So if I am intelligent enough, I would have a knowledge of my industry, right? Only and only if I'm using my intelligence in the right way, I have the industry knowledge, I would be able to add values, or I would be able to contribute something new. Otherwise, I won't be innovative, right? So first and foremost, I need to understand that I need to know what's happening in the industry, not only to the person of what my domain is or which fraternity I belong to. If I know what's happening around, I would be able to add, or I would be able to think out of the box. So executive presence matters in business for several reasons, but mainly because it commands respect. It commands, if a leader exudes confidence, right, there are more uh, apps to receive the respect and lead effectively. If you're a person who comes with very limited knowledge, I am sure it would be very difficult for people to look at you and follow you, right? So by projecting confidence and authorities, you would be in a position to motivate and inspire your team for achieving their goals. The business impact, very, very important. What kind of an impact do we project on the organization's growth? Am I seeing myself in the bigger frame, or am I still being trying to be there somewhere in the corner of the big frame? It is all about your reputation, who you are, what you are, what you want, right? How capable are you to create and build and leverage this relationship is very, very important, right? It also helps you to get the better employee morale. And when I say that, corporate morale often improves when an executive team member executes an executive presence. Their enthusiasm makes individuals feel responsible or being satisfied with their employment. So everybody wants to add a value, but how many of us give them the room to come and express their ideas, or how many of us give them to say, okay, fine, go ahead and do what you want. I am right there to support, right? Always remember, if you come with a strong executive presence, the assertiveness and the positive attitude are always inculcated in your day-to-day decisions, right? And that helps you with low attrition, low resignations, because if you get a good morale in the team, it brings down the attrition rate significantly. And moreover, this brings down the hiring and training costs of an organization. See how everything is interconnected. When employees stay for a more extended period, brand loyalty increases, right? The productivity is enhanced, and we are aware of the necessary changes. So whenever you are working or trying to build a well-established executive presence, so identify a very simple way of how to build it. Identify your strengths and weaknesses. Identify the strengths and weaknesses of the organization also, right? This helps you make the changes necessary. I hope we all are okay so far. Any questions? If not, allow me to move on to the next slide.
We do have a question,
Okay, go ahead.
We have a question from Gafir.
Uh-huh.
Is executive presence also implies being active on LinkedIn and makes the world notice what are we doing on a daily basis?
Absolutely. Not on a daily basis, actually. You should not be flooding your LinkedIn on a daily basis, right? I would say once in a week, please get onto your LinkedIn and update. That is what we had in our last session if you had missed out. But yes, you can build your executive presence on LinkedIn as well. Guys, wherever you are interacting, either it is on with a digital footprint or in person, executive presence is very, very important. Your appearance, your communication, your digital presence, as you can rightly see on the screen, it plays a very, very important role, right? So there are this A, B, C, D of executive presence is a very simple formula that you would be able to remember. So when I talk about appearance, I'm sure you would have had the old saying, dress to impress. And this is it. Our appearance and body language dictate the message we want to send in, right? If you come to work with a slouching and your sweats and your flip-flops, you look at the team, how it reacts. If you come to work looking professional, confident, and upbeat, you are setting the right tone for the team, right? If you come to work uh, being very disheartened or sad, I'm sure you're not passing on the right message. The behavior that you come with doesn't give the right intention of you. Adding this executive presence, communication, very, very important thing with your tone, your voice. It do plays an important role with the words that you choose, but also what it matters the most is how you speak, right? It is very important of what we are trying to say. We also need to be fully present and listen with complete attention. Active listening is a must skill, guys. Beyond the words you choose, consider how you choose your voice. That's the most important thing. Many of the leaders and many of the good speakers I have seen being having a monotone while they're speaking. So they sound at the same tone, the same pitch. I'm not saying that you have to be an RJ and say, hey, good morning. No, absolutely not. Yes, you need to understand the intonation and how we interact. Make a good eye contact, right? Stand straight, have a strong voice. Uh, Try to be as soft as you can, but at the same time, be firm with what you say. So your voice, your non-verbal behaviors, and appearance are all a part of your message that you contribute to your presence. So be authentic to yourself. Very simple formula. Be authentic, but also be the kind of leader you aspire to be. I am sure a couple of you might be the leaders right now. A couple of you might be aspiring to be in that position. But why would you? What is the idea of a leader for you? Is something that you need to think about. What kind of an executive presence I need to build around myself is something that you need to look at, right? And yes, digital presence, as there was a question asked, it is very, very important for us to have a strong executive presence by avoiding a lot of things like we discussed in the last LinkedIn session, mastering the LinkedIn session, wherein you are not supposed to be unprofessional by adding pictures, how you add on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. It's a professional website, and you need to be aware of the language and the content that you are adding. Mindset. Very, very important. So there are only two myths that I discussed with you, right? The first thing was the right skill set. Yes, we do have to work on a right skill set, but also if we have to build our executive presence, guys, it's very, very important for us to understand that my people skills are very, very important, right? Because I might be an individual contributor towards the end of the day. I still have to work with people, and especially the people who are part of a team or who are interacting with customers, clients frequently. For them, executive presence is must. Another thing is the mindset. Most of the times we find ourselves in a fixed mindset, right? Most of the times I feel myself as being stuck, or I feel, okay, fine, but this is not my cup of tea. This is something that I shouldn't be doing. I am not an extrovert, Snehal, right? Neither I am an ambivert. I prefer to be an introvert, or I prefer to be a person who loves listening. Good that you are a good listener, and you should be. However, it's very, very important for you to have a combination of being an ambivert. I'm not saying that go ahead and keep pitching in your ideas everywhere you wish to, but yes, you have to ensure that you elevate your mindset in such a way that you try and add value where it is needed. You have to be a combination of introvert and an extrovert to understand or to project yourself in the right way. Please understand, my participants here, the one or the leaders that you are interacting with, or say for your team also, they are not omnipresent. They do not know what's happening in your mind, in your brain, in your mindset. It's only and only when you project yourself in a right way, I am sure you are able to motivate them. Empathy is something that's very, very important when I talk about mindset. We all might have heard this term saying that if you are in my shoes, you would be able to understand what I'm going through, right? Absolutely. But if I have to get into your shoes, I need to remove mine, right? That means I need to change my mindset to accept or to adapt your mindset. Very, very important. And storytelling, right? Anything or anywhere that you have a communication with, have an assertive communication. Handle difficult questions skillfully. Do not take complaints as always a challenge, right? And ensure that anytime, whenever you are presenting yourself, either a way of your presentations or your meetings or you expressing your views, ensure that you deliver a high impact communication. High impact communication is not always using high frequency words, right? You should always keep in one thing in your mind, that effective communication is the communication wherein people are able to understand what you intend to say or what message you are trying to give it to them. Look, your appearance should be aligned with your aspirations, right? If you are a person who is goal oriented, positive oriented, I am sure you should be aware of what your vision, your goals, and your mission is. Otherwise, please do not tag yourself as a goal oriented person, right? So you should be able to sustain your energy, your positive energy, and spread it as much as you can. However, it's very easy to say, at times very difficult to. We all have our own set of problems or own set of challenges. Executive presence or the right mindset helps you to work on each of your challenge effectively when you start jotting them down. It's so truly said by someone that if you start writing down your problem, you automatically start getting the solutions for it. So please ensure that you extend the sphere of your influence. You elevate your profile by being active on digital footprints. You can be active while interacting with people around you, right? It can be anything. Most of the time, I have seen people not even interacting with the colleagues around them. I had work, I was busy, or there are so many things that we keep adding and keep giving out reasons. So please ensure that we uh, focus on a growth mindset. And guys, this fixed mindset and growth mindset are something that is here with me. The only bridge that connects both mindset is my attitude. And if my attitude is right, I am sure I would be able to pull myself from the fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Any questions that we have?
Yes, Nikhil, we have a question. So I'll read it out for you. Would a person
Sure.
be considered having an executive presence when he or she is provoking by saying, "So you have not done a part of your job, so you fail doing the simplest thing as a part of your job, etc., etc." So how do we handle such personality with your executive presence?
Okay. Guys, we are the most important thing that we need to understand, and it needs practice. Okay. Uh, Feedback is something that ensure you always take it positive. If you are a person who is a little greedy about growing in life, please take your feedbacks in a positive way. That is the first sign of having a growth mindset. My fixed mindset says, hey, you know what? This person is giving me a feedback to put me down. I have done 100 things. If I have done a mistake, can he not ignore that mistake? Absolutely, he can. But what am I supposed to focus with my executive presence? Okay, let me go ahead and understand why, where do you find or where do you want me to work on, right? Uh, Most of the times when you are in your appraisals, right? This is a very common situation that I have seen. It's your appraisal, right? Who is the one who's talking the most in your appraisal? There are two people in the room, you and your manager. So who is talking the most? Quickly, give me an answer. Fast, fast. Start typing it fast. You or the manager?
Boss,
The boss.
employee,
Is it because the boss is always right? Absolutely not. Because the boss knows what you are doing, right? Guys, you remember in the previous slides, I said that we do not like to talk about ourselves, right? We do not talk about the work. We do not quantify our work when we have to quantify our work. And that is when we give a room for someone to come and say, hey, you know what? You have not been doing this, right? Why is that you not having a list of your achievements or your responsibilities that you have taken care of in that particular quarter of yours? How many of you make a note of what you have done? How many of you journal it? Tell me, how many of us do that? try doing this time, then this thing. The next time when you go for an appraisal, you also have a list, right, mentioned in your diary that, boss, in spite of me doing XYZ responsibilities that goes towards my profile, I have also added a couple of more responsibilities by doing ABC tasks, which has quantifiable measurements, or which has a quantifiable impact on the company's growth. I am sure there would nobody who would say, okay, fine, what you did. Is just that we come with a mindset from our childhood, right? When a child even talks about his achievements, we say, okay, don't talk about it, right? I understand what you have done. So this is how we have grown up. And then when we start working, we are in a zone of how can I talk about my work? How can I talk about what I did? How can I talk about how good I am at something, right? And that is when we give the remote to someone else. So what we can do with an executive presence, with our growth mindset, please go ahead and take a 360-degree feedback about yourself, right? Identify, work on your strengths. Okay, if this person has given me a feedback that I'm not able to deliver a particular task according to his expectations, it's okay. Let me understand his expectations. This word okay doesn't go well with us, right? It's just that we say it's okay, right? So hope I was able to answer your question. With your executive presence, be positive, to take the feedback as a step for you to learn and grow in life. Do not take it in a negative way. It is easy for me to say that be a part of growth mindset, elevate your skills, elevate your mindset, be an exceptional communicator. Guys, but executive presence is not, it cannot be something that can be developed and overnight, right? It has to be a continuous process of developing it. Was I able to answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
We have another question, Snehal. Is it really important to have the right outfit?
Right outfit? Yes, absolutely. That projects what you are, who you are. Absolutely. You cannot go in your sneakers in the office here. It's okay. You cannot go. Right? You have to have professionalism. If you are in a position where you are trying to inspire people, I'm sure you should have the right outfit. You look at the leaders, you look at the role models that you have around yourself. I'm not asking you to wear a pale color shirt or a white color shirt, because I'm sure with the traffic it could turn out to be a white shirt would turn out to be a pale yellow by the time you reach office. Or wear a suit. I'm sure you would curse me for wearing a suit throughout the day. It's not absolutely that, but whatever you wear, be comfortable with yourself. But that doesn't mean that you wear a low waist jeans and you project yourself in a presentation. Absolutely not. Right? So there are some steps to develop your executive presence, which we need to pay attention to. Right? Having a vision.
Yes, another question here. So,
Yes.
how to provide good executive presence when we are ourselves demotivated with some management decision?
Okay. When we are demotivated, this is this is one term that I never Googled, demotivated with management decisions. My executive presence, and guys, it's not a myth, or it's not, I would say it's a fact of life that, uh, we at times get disappointed, not when our expectations aren't met. Please keep uh, focus on this point. We are not disappointed when our expectations are not met. We are disappointed to the level when our expectations not met. So there's a difference. If I had an expectation that I would get a rating of 5, right, on or a 4 out of 5, and I get a 2.5 or 3. So what I'm upset is getting a rating of 2.5 or 3. I'm not upset with me not progressing or me not putting in my efforts. When my expectations are not met to my expectations is when I get demotivated. I am sure there are at times decisions which do not make you happy, but I would say try to be a part of an open room discussion, right? Express your vision, right? One of the most essential aspects of developing an executive presence is to have a vision towards your organization. And I'm sure every morning when you wake up, you have something planned for yourself. You have some vision for yourself. You have some goals for yourself. How many of us are able to express a vision? How many of us are able to express what am I looking for? Are we clear within ourselves? What am I looking for? What is something that I would be after 5 years down the line? Right? How many of us compel ourselves to believe in ourselves? Guys, if you do not believe in your own vision, and you are not able to express your ideas or your decisions, I am sure the disappointment would always be there. So you have to ensure that you articulate your vision in such a way that every situation that is a challenging situation becomes easy for you. That's very, very important. And you would start looking at some changes, right? Try and build effective interpersonal relationship, guys. This is very, very important. uh, Understand why those decisions are made, understands how the others experience and the style of their interaction with you impacts, right? People with excellent executive skills or presence have perception skills, right? And everybody comes with their own perception, right? It's not wrong. It's absolutely not wrong. Understand, you have to be in their shoes. You have to understand, if I'm not happy with one decision in my life, what is the other way for me to go ahead, right? Try and open the doors to look at more significant opportunities. If you do not see a door, what do? I create a window for myself, right? So if at all you are demotivated with something, try and see the factors that boost your confidence. Try and see what motivates you the best. I would not prefer you telling guys, keep hopping and switching, right? That would not be a solution for this, right? Uh, I hope I was able to help you with. There are a lot of mentors in the industry, guys, who can get you a lot of inputs. If you're comfortable with your bosses, if you're comfortable with someone who is senior to you, build those interpersonal relationships stronger, build your communication skills stronger. That's what I said. People are not omnipresent. Who is omnipresent? God is omnipresent, right? He knows what's happening in your life. People are not omnipresent. They would not know what your intentions are or what you are. So you have to build your communication skills. And if you are a leader, you should be highly effective at communication, right? All aspects of your communication must be clear and concise. There should be no ambiguity in your conversation. So everyone who aims at creating an executive presence should work on the listening skills and the communication skills. Automatically, when you start working on having a vision, your interpersonal relationships, your communication skills, you will see that you are growing a network. You will automatically find the solutions for your challenges by not discussing it. Do not make a rumor mill with talking and discussing all the things with people around you. Absolutely not. Right? Have a better sense of the dynamics of a complex relationship. Please understand. And I'm sure with all these 5 things that I have just mentioned, you would be able to operate successfully under stress. Make as many mistakes, guys, as you want. Believe me, every mistake that you make, you learn. However, make a new mistake every day, right? Now, those mistakes should not be contributing towards the company's revenue. No, absolutely not. But yes, if you have made a mistake, please accept it and go about it. Right? Are we clear? And I'm sure, as somebody said, that does it really matter for me to dress? Yes, because visual appearance is something that creates the first impression, which is very vital, conscious or subconscious, right? You want to make sure that your initial belief is positive, right? And hence, you should be wearing what you are comfortable with, right? This is a 3x3 executive presence model. Now, this displays 9 behaviors that falls into 3 categories: the gravitas, the authority, and the expression. Gravitas is, and once you start understanding and using these behaviors, it helps you to develop a great executive presence, right? And if you are in a position where you are motivating your employees, this is something that you can use as a strategy to exceed, right? Most of the times people have asked me, Snehal, how to become a leader. It sounds like a mystery to me. Is it something, a leader is someone who has a team reporting under him? And I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and take you through this model, wherein you will be able to understand what this 3x3 executive model does, right? So this comprehensive model, guys, it identifies the specific qualities you need to grow within key domain of executive presence by eliminating the guesswork. There should be no guesswork over here, right? Radiate gravitas. What do I mean by radiate gravitas? Ensure you need to be confident, commanding, and charismatic, right? And when I say this, the more you are confident about your vision, your mission, your goals, what you desire for, I am sure Commanding is not something when I say that you have to tell people, hey, listen, what I say is right. It's my way or highway. Absolutely not. It's our way, right? And you can only and only focus on it when you are charismatic, when you carry a positive body language. Authority, right? When I talk about authority, it's not about telling people what I say or what I do, follow me, right? People will only follow you when they see you as an influential person. And to be an influential person, you have to do what you say, right? You have to be bold enough, you have to be decisive enough to take your decisions in the right way and not by telling people. Nobody likes, we all humans do not like to be managed or controlled, right? So be influential in such a way that people get a room for expressing themselves, right? And once you are influential, guys, once you have built that influential aura around yourself, you would see how clear, how vocal, how insightful your expressions would be, because that is something you have to work on. Believe me, practicing these 9 competencies will help you boost your executive presence. You will increase your competence, confidence, as well as the contribution to the organization, right? So these are the 9 things that you can always work on. We all are working virtually nowadays, most of the times, right? Very, very important that not only in presence, I need to create my executive uh, aura strong, but I also need to understand how virtually I can be strong, right? So first and the foremost important thing is I need to learn the system, right? It is dominated by Zoom, Teams, Google Meet. I have seen the people who are at a very higher level with a lot of confidence. They are struggling to even connect most of the times the projector, right? So one thing that you can erode confidence is by understanding how important it is for me to learn the systems, right? Deliver with energy. People would love to listen to a person who's energetic, right? Who has the right knowledge or the right message to give, right? Otherwise, I'm sure you would not be able to get or grab people's attention, right? Be aware of the eye contact. Now, dress to impress is something that is very, very important. In the COVID times, we have seen people wearing different types of costumes. I am at home. How does it matter? And so on, right? So please ensure that you are in an attire, even in your virtual sessions, that people found your appearance in a professional way. Be aware of an eye contact. It should not be going right, left, and up and down all the time. It's very, very important that you understand the importance of facing the camera with more confidence, right? Promoting tools is something that, yes, we're all aware of. Uh, Promoting tools is something to get in touch with you or your team members, right? So use virtual technologies to express openness, convey your teams a message, drop in a message, use Zoom, you can use a lot of happy hours, and so on. Be as comfortable as you can be with the videos, guys. Switching on your video and talking is something very, very nice, and I always love that. Unfortunately, I have to ask you not to switch on your videos. Here, honestly, it would have been a great, great conversation. Gravitas, very, very important. 67% of senior executives say it's a core characteristics of executive presence. Absolutely. And when I think of something which is gravitas, this comes to my mind. Confident, commanding, and charismatic, right? It means that whenever you have your direct reports to your senior leadership, see that you sound confident, you sound commanding. The root of the word means you be serious with the words or with the actions that you choose. That's very, very important. When you speak, people should stop and listen. They can feel your effect on themselves. And it can be only and only done by not using high frequency words or by using high frequency language. It can be as simple as a communication can be. It can be as empathetic as can be. Even when you're talking to people with higher level, you see them as people, right? You do not have that fear in your mind. Oh, he's my CEO. How can I talk to him? I become very conscious. You treat them like your colleagues rather than feeling intimidated by their status. That's the most important thing. And do not hold back your opinions. You need to understand, where do I speak what? You also inspire confidence in your subordinates, right? Co-workers, superiors, everywhere. If your gravitas is strong, guys, it helps you to find yourself trustworthy, respect the quality of your work, and I'm sure you'll be able to guide the team to the success, right? Superiors will start relying on you, right? Because you are producing excellent work. You are expanding your influence. You are one person who can be trustable in the organization. You are something that what is asked beyond, right? And they know your work reflects well them too, right? So it's very, very important to create your gravitas. So how many of us would be like this? Authority. We have seen about the authority, right? And we have also discussed that we have to be decisive, bold, and influential. Every time you act, you influence others by being effective, right? Expression. Three traits that makes up the domain of expression include speaking up, being insightful, and communicating clearly without any ambiguity, right? These are the warning signs of you not having an executive presence. Very, very important. The most important thing that executive presence needs is assertiveness, right? Some of us might try to, some of us might rarely speak or we tend to shy away. But I need to understand that my presence, if I have to ensure that I have to be authoritative and I have to project myself in a respectful manner, I need to be assertive, I need to speak, right? That is very, very important. You have to believe you in the room. You need to know your value and appreciate that you can, and you should have an impact. Otherwise, people, why would they even know your presence, or why would they even feel the presence? If you don't speak up, you risk being perceived as an inferior. You are also diminishing your executive presence because you aren't giving others an opportunity to assess your willingness to fight for the needs or for anything else that matters. You aren't giving people a chance to observe your passions, your interest, your engagement, and then it becomes very difficult for us to instill confidence, right? At times, some people talk too much, right? At times, people dominate. I am not here to dominate, right? When you're dominating a conversation, you aren't listening effectively. And this is one of the warning signs that diminishes your executive presence. Those with the executive presence appreciate the value of strategic silence in order to achieve the goal. Always remember, have a right way of communication. Some of us struggle to moderate our emotions, right? The most important thing, guys, here is we have to really, really be very, I would say we should be developed with our emotional intelligence. If you can't or won't, please, I understand you have to manage your emotions professionally, right? To persuade others, to establish credibility, to earn respect, you ensure that you kind of control your emotions. If you are someone who are prone to outburst or tolerate bullying, you are allowing your remote, you are giving a remote to someone and then say, hey, operate, go the way you want to, right? Showing up late or not interacting with audience is one of the signs where you say, okay, I'm not interested or I'm not needed here much, right? And hence, we need to ensure that we need to behave professionally and clearly. There are a couple of debunked myths about executive presence. One of the myths was great leaders wake up with perfect hair. Absolutely not, right? So even the most poised executive wakes up with the morning breath, eye bags, and bad head, right? However, they know better how to get them settled by taking a quick shower and getting a pair of trousers and they can grab from the closet, right? So this is something that we have to come out of this myth that every leader is very, perfect when it comes to his dressing. It's just that um, they know how to dress up and how to make it more influential. All leaders were born good speakers. Absolutely not. For 99% of us, communication skills are learned, not something that we are lucky enough to be born with. Absolutely. I was not the one who was born with. So hence, we need to understand that leaders were not born. They are made. Leaders always know the answers. Oh my God. How many of us believe in that? Absolutely not. There are no superpowers hidden under the hood, right? And they're not been caught by surprises too. What sets them apart with the strong executive presence is the ability to handle or maintain grace under pressure. They do not pretend to know all of the answers. Instead, they ask difficult questions, right? That is one trick that we all need to understand. Executive presence is exclusive to certain. Yes, the truth is that anyone can execute an aura of executive presence by doing the right thing at the right time. If you're going to go an extra mile to acquire the traits of a good leader, it all starts with self-assessment. Absolutely. Asking a feedback from your co-workers, clients, supervisors is a great way to start cultivating executive presence. If you want to stand out as a leader, please go ahead and enhance your conversation skills, show warmth. That is very, very important. You have to have a relationship where people are very confident that yes, if I go to Snehal, I'm always gonna get a solution, right? Develop that executive maturity, master your presentation skills. You are one who always, a person with a great, strong executive presence says that I'm always there to learn, right? And there are these four principles that helps me to understand how do I work on my communication. I always speak to influence, not only for a fact that I want people to believe in me. I know what is right. I know what I have to give a message across, right? I know what would be the impact of what I say. Am I staying in the present? If yes, I am able to be an influential person, right? Be authentic. Ensure that you act with integrity. That is the most important thing, guys. Don't be marginalized. Very, very important. Please ensure that you do not monopolize the conversation by saying it's my way or highway. Gather your thoughts effectively. Control your negative thoughts by being positive all the time. The only thing you need to keep in mind, your actions speaks louder than words. And a couple of things I would say that you can control of with your elements of gravitas is your communication, is your appearance. The most important thing, how you dress, how you project yourself, your confidence. I might be low at confidence sometimes. It's okay. I am a human. I'm not a robot, or I'm not a bot to be confident all the times. Accept and move ahead, right? Respect, integrity, ethics, honesty is something that I need to understand and I need to build it for myself. I do not expect people to respect me. Rather, I demand respect. The only reason I demand respect is because I respect. It's as simple as that. I need to understand that emotional intelligence is something that can be my guide. You can coach people with empathy, remembering your own struggles and successes. Have you ever tried of sharing your own experiences or your own challenges with your team? I am sure this emotional intelligence would help you understand by being there, listening to the people, by being in present. Hence, uh, your emotional intelligence and your intelligence quotient goes hand in hand, right? Reputation, very, very important. How do I build reputation? It takes minutes for me to get off my reputation, but it takes me ages to build one, right? How can I build my reputation? By changing my perception and vision. It's very, very important that I look at the world with the right lens, right? Handling the situation effectively is something that I need to work on. There were a couple of gravitas that we need to work on by being, because this gravitas plays a huge role in developing our executive presence, by being more self-disciplined, by being more kind, by being more empathetic. Working on your verbal and non-verbal communication, your honesty and integrity is something that would help you fit a particular mold, and many people would be able to take you the right way. There are a couple of blunders that Gravitas has done. Why, with lack of integrity, flip-flopping, inflated ego, why should I change? I am successful the way I am, and this is the most common question that I get when I am coaching people, right? And so what I need to understand, what is my purpose? What are the values that I hold above all else? And what does your mission statement look like? Right? Do we have any questions, guys? Have a self-evaluation from yourself, have a feedback from your colleagues. I would like you to take a quick snippet of this. How can you plan your executive presence? By defining your style, by having the right goals for yourself, by joining a professional development group, practice your communication skills, and you can always get in touch with an executive coach or a mentor. Please have a mentor for yourself who would be able to guide you through the right direction. And that was it from my end. Thank you so much for being there with me. And if you have any questions, we still have 2 minutes left with us, I guess. Yes. Soumya, do we have any questions?
Yes, Nehal. So I'm not finding any questions, but people are thanking you. Was the saying very it was very insightful.
You can make this session more insightful by having a right plan for yourself, guys. So I would suggest, please and please, have a strong executive presence where people love you to be there and people appreciate your presence. That is nothing but your executive presence. With that, thank you so much. And always keep wearing a lenses of positive attitude. And I'm sure you'll be able to build a strong culture around yourself. Thank you so much.
You're getting many thank you. Thank you.
Most
So much.
most welcome to listen, because that's something very, very important. It's not an easy task to listen to someone.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you, Soumya. Thank you so much to be of my help, asking me the questions, and I hope I was able to answer them. But guys, anytime if you feel any questions, you can always put me across.
Right. Yeah. Thank you so much. And I've also shared, the job assistance program email ID in the chat box. Please write to that email ID if you have any questions or queries regarding the job assistance. Right. Our team is there to help you out. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful evening ahead.